All right, here we go. I'm on my phone now. And I'm going to be interviewing Dave Logan of Four Seasons Guides to talk about what it's like to hike to Phantom Ranch at the bottom of the Grand Canyon today. So I'm just going to wait for him to come on. There he is. Dave. Can't.
Good morning.
There we go. Hi, good morning. Afternoon, how are you? How are you doing?
Doing very well. How are you?
Good. Good. Sorry, I was on my computer, so I think you can't do this from your computer at all. So now I'm on my phone and we're all set. Yes. Yes, there's a little bit of a delay. So Dave, where are you tuning in from?
I am tuning in from the Four Seasons Guides headquarters here in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Okay. Awesome. So everyone, I wanted to bring Dave Logan on. Dave is from Four Seasons Guides, and they are located in Flagstaff, Arizona. They're going to be taking my retreat group, down to Phantom Ranch this October on my one of my Elevate Excursions trips. It's called A Journey to the Unlimited Self, and it's October 4th to the 11th, and I do have a few spots left. But today, Dave is going to be talking about the experience that we're going to have, what his company offers, how they got started, and then hopefully Dave will share some information about himself. So Dave, thank you so much for being here.
So I'm getting a really bad connection here, and I'm having trouble hearing anything that you're saying.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to try something here real quick. Give me a second.
Okay. Okay, sure. Hi, Laura. You must be one of Dave's friends. So Dave's got a funky connection, so we're going to try something else.
Seems to be a little bit better.
Is it better?
I think so. Yeah, we've still got a little delay, but yeah, the connection seems better.
Okay, so I was just explaining what I'm doing in October with my retreat, A Journey to the Unlimited Self, going to the Phantom Ranch in the Grand Canyon, and then Sedona, and that your company, Four Seasons Guides, was going to be taking us down on the Phantom Ranch part of the trip.
Yes, indeed.
And that everyone today is going to learn what that looks like, what that entails, some tips, any tips that you have to offer, and what your company is all about, how you guys got started, and then just some fun information about you. So sure. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Yeah, so I'll put a link to Four Seasons Guides in the comment section below, and then also to the retreat that I'm offering in October. And I do have a few spots still left available. So I'll put a link to the retreat as well in the comment section. And if you guys watching want to just tell us where you're from and if you've been down to Phantom Ranch in the comment section below, that would be awesome. So, all right, Dave, let's go ahead and get started. So what does your company offer? What does Four Seasons Guides offer?
So Four Seasons Guides, we are a hiking and backpacking guide company. So we offer fully outfitted, all-inclusive tours kind of across the southwestern landscape. So certainly, Grand Canyon is one of our primary focus areas, but we also offer trips in southern Utah and parks like Zion and Bryce, Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument, Canyonlands, Arches National Park, all over the Southwest, and even into Yosemite National Park. We run backpacking trips there in the summer months when it's getting kind of hot here in Canyon Country.
Okay.
And we do everything from backpacking trips where you're lugging all your gear on your back to base camp trips where you're out doing, day hikes in various destinations and just kind of returning to a comfortable spot each evening, or lodge-based trips, which the Phantom Ranch trip would be considered a lodge-based trip because you're just hiking with kind of the bare essentials, basically clothing, toiletries, and things. And then you get down to the bottom of the canyon. You're going to spend a couple nights at Phantom Ranch in the historic Phantom Ranch cabins.
Right. Awesome. So you said when we go to Phantom Ranch, all we have to carry is like a light backpack, like a day pack kind of a thing.
Yeah, basically, all your food is taken care of, and you're staying at the ranch itself, so all the bedding and everything's taken care of, towels for showers, things like that. So basically, all you're carrying while you're on the trail is whatever personal clothing and toiletries that you want to bring along, and any other personal effects. We certainly encourage people to travel as light as possible. It makes the hiking a little bit easier in that sense, and so keep it to the bare essentials, and yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Yeah, so I've led some hike and lodge trips to Mount LeConte Lodge in the Smoky Mountains. Have you heard of that?
I have.
Yeah. So from my experience doing that, I've noticed I've seen a variety of backpacks, people carrying different kinds of backpacks, anywhere from like book bags to, the right kind of backpack. Do you have any recommendation from what you've seen and what you've experienced, like the best kind of backpack? What do you recommend?
Sure, sure. The kind of book bag style day pack that doesn't have any hip belt supports, probably not the best idea. Although you're not carrying a ton of weight, and largely it's up to you how much you carry, but I would expect 12 to 15 pounds once you factor in all your clothing and whatnot. So having a backpack that's going to have a supportive hip belt on it is certainly going to be more comfortable than the like the high school or college backpack, for carrying your books and things around. It's gonna carry more comfortably. You can let the weight of the backpack sit on your hips as opposed to sitting on your shoulders. So that is the goal. We can provide backpacks for anybody coming on the trips. We'll provide those for you. You're welcome to bring your own if you have your own. The backpacks that we provide for a Phantom Ranch trip are typically about 40 liters in size, which is typically, a bit larger than you need, but you never know what people show up with. Although we do, have very specific recommendations on what to bring. People inevitably show up with extra things, and so we'll provide a backpack that's got a little extra space if you decide to show up with some extra stuff.
Okay, great. So I can tell people they don't need to bring a backpack if they don't want to.
That's right.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so how did you get started with Four Season Guides? How long have you been around?
Well, I've been with the company since 2005. That's when my guiding career started with Four Seasons. The company was established in 1999. The guy who started it, Brian Tracy, he kind of took it from the ground up, and it was primarily a Grand Canyon backpacking focused company in the early years. By the time I joined in 2005, the company had expanded into southern Utah and into Yosemite. And I worked for the company as a guide from 2005 until 2013, when I actually bought the company, and have been running it since. So how I got into the guiding thing was basically, I've lived in Flagstaff, since 1999. I'm sorry, 1996. And the first time I visited Grand Canyon, which is just about an hour from here, as is the experience with a lot of first-time Grand Canyon visitors, you sit on the edge and you gaze down into the bottom and you say, "I've got to get down there." And so
Right.
my experience, and a few years later, I took my first trip down into the canyon and became addicted instantly, and spent the next handful of years just exploring on my own, getting groups of friends together, going on backpacking trips in different parts of the canyon, and just, increasing my passion and love for that place. When I was in college, I studied biology in college, but for some elective credit, I took an outdoor education course, couple semester course here at the university in Flagstaff, and that involved backpacking in Grand Canyon. And one of the student teachers on that course happened to be a guide at Four Seasons at the time, and assured me that I would be a great fit for the company. And so after graduating with my biology degree, I did what any biology student would do and went and got a backpack guide job. And
There you go.
so here we are years later, ended up buying the company, and yeah, now I've got a handful of fantastic guides running the trips.
Awesome. So the company's been around for about 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Next year.
And you bought it in 2013.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. So again, people watching, if you're just tuning in or if you're tuning in later, if you watch this after we've already done the live video, just comment below where you're from and if you've been to Phantom Ranch before. I've never been, so I'm really excited to go. So what can people expect to see on the hike? The hike down, once we're down there,
yeah,
what can people expect?
Definitely, the hike in and out of the canyon, you're going to see those classic Grand Canyon views. You do a Google search for Grand Canyon for photos and you get those massive broad views. That's what you're going to see on your way down into the canyon, on your way back out of the canyon. The vast majority of visitors to the canyon only ever see it from the rim and don't actually venture below. So whole different perspective once you leave the rim and start descending into the canyon. So as you make your way down into the canyon, those broad sweeping views eventually become a little more constricted as the walls of the canyon are towering around you and you get deeper and deeper down in.
Right.
And so you'll see the Colorado River. You'll have the chance to put your toes in the Colorado River. You're going to see beautiful streams that flow down through some of the side canyons. There's a lot of freshwater sources actually down in the canyon once you're down in the bottom.
Okay.
Groves of cottonwood trees and of course the historic Phantom Ranch, which is the only developed tourist accommodation in the bottom of Grand Canyon, and it's been around since the 1920s. It's a beautiful spot. It's like a little oasis in the bottom of the canyon. So yeah, you'll basically spend day one hiking down into the canyon, which is going to be a 7-mile hike descending just about 5,000 vertical feet in elevation. So it's a pretty serious hike.
Right.
Day 3.
How long will that take?
Well, people love to ask how long it takes, and my answer is 7 miles. Because some people will do it in 4 hours and others will do it in 10 hours. On average, it's good to just anticipate being on the trail for basically a mile an hour. So that include your, we're stopping, we're taking our time. We're in no rush to get there. It does you no benefit to rush to get down there. So we take our time, we're taking pictures, we're having snack breaks, we're having lunch along the way. The guides will teach you all about Grand Canyon. So, telling stories and informing you about what you're seeing. So yeah, about 7 hours on the way down. You've got a layover day down there in the bottom of the canyon where we're going to do some more exploring, and then your hike out. A little bit longer hike. You got 9.5 miles, but same elevation gain to get back out of the canyon. And it usually doesn't take quite as long on the way out, meaning it's probably not going to take 9.5 hours to get out. And a lot of people are a little puzzled by, well, wouldn't it take longer to get out of the canyon? But people have a little more concerted effort. They've got this big climb ahead of them. They're looking up at the rim, and you kind of put your head down and work your way, slowly but surely out of the canyon. Often it's a 7 to 8 hour hike out of the canyon on that last day.
Okay. Awesome. So you said there were rivers obviously the Colorado River is down there. Can you swim in the river?
It's not really recommended for swimming. It's a serious river. It's really cold. But right there near Phantom Ranch was a place called Boat Beach, where there tends to be a spot where you can get in the river. You can fully submerge. But the water flowing by in the Colorado River is about 50 degrees. So it's cold. And quite often at the end of end of September, early October, it may still be running pretty brown and muddy, which is what the Colorado River historically was all the time. But it's kind of the end of our rainy season. And so it takes several weeks after the rainy season ends for the river to kind of clear out again and become kind of a more green color. But you never know; it could be flowing green when you're down there in early October.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm excited about that. So should I tell people to bring bathing suits then?
You can certainly do bathing suits. What most people on our trips just end up doing is, you've got shorts and t-shirts on for hiking, and even if you just jump in with that, or ladies, will kind of do the sports bra thing, you dry off really, really fast. It's a really arid climate out here, and early
Okay.
October, I'd still expect upper 80s, low 90s down in the bottom of the canyon. And so even if you got in with shorts and a t-shirt on, literally you dry off in about 15 minutes. So
Okay.
you can certainly bring a bathing suit. There's also a beautiful creek that flows right by Phantom Ranch, which is certainly going to be warmer than the Colorado River and flowing certainly more clear. So that can be a nice spot to get into. It's not really a swimming creek, but it can be great on a warm day to just kind of kick back and sit in the nice little pools.
That's my favorite part. Like in the middle of or at the end of a hike, like jumping in the river,
Yeah.
in a river. It's like, I just love that. It's my favorite thing. So I will definitely be doing that. How do you deal with, we're talking about the amount of time you're on the trail. I definitely know when I take groups out on retreats, there's always, the front group, the middle group, the back group, people lagging in the back. How do you deal with that as a guide?
If we've typically the most number of guides we would have on a Grand Canyon trip would be 2 guides because of maximum group sizes allowable in the park. And so 2 guides is certainly ample, for a group of, 7, 8, 9 people. And so it's easy to kind of split up. You're rarely going to have, 3 distinctly different speeds of hiking. And again, our guides are really experienced at managing hiking speeds that's going to kind of fit the whole group. Now certainly you could have people that are just super fast hikers and people that are much slower, and in that case we could have 2 separate groups, probably not too far apart, but for the most part we do end up all hiking together as a group. And I would say anybody planning on joining the trip that is a super fast hiker and is eager to just jet down there, I would kind of reset your mind frame and just plan on, look, we're not racing to the bottom of the canyon. We're not racing out of the canyon. This isn't a destination oriented experience necessarily. It's just an overall experience. You're going to immerse yourself in Grand Canyon. Don't be in a rush. Be excited about immersing yourself in the canyon, taking your time. If you end up being a much faster hiker than others, then maybe you're a quarter mile ahead. Find a little rock to perch on and gaze out at the most amazing view you've ever seen, and just spend some time
Right.
that in. Be mindfulness, be present, and just be prepared for that immersive experience, and not so focused on, I want to get down there really fast because.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you typically send 2 guides with each group.
Right.
Okay.
Depending on the.
For some reason, I was thinking it would just be one.
I'm sorry?
For some reason, I was thinking it would just be one
And
guide.
this trip might just be one.
Okay.
It's still up in the air. If we've got another guide who's hanging around and we can get them on the trip, then great. But certainly a group of 7 is very manageable for a single guide.
Right. Okay. So what are your top 5 tips for going to Phantom Ranch, for doing the hike?
Top 5 tips. Number 1, train.
Train.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So you're in a national park and you're going to be walking, but this is by no means a walk in the park. Grand Canyon is serious hiking. You're going to be on some of the most well-maintained trails in the park and some of the more highly trafficked trails in the park, but it still requires a concerted effort to put in some time to train for this hike. And so, the best way to do that is to go hiking. Think about, if you've never done 5,000 feet of descent or 5,000 feet elevation gain in a single day, I know that's difficult for a lot of people to find near their homes if you don't have mountains and things and good trails. And so I would recommend, you know, putting some time in at the gym or going hiking on any trail you can find near your house. You know, basically, a lot of people are surprised that it's actually the hike down into the canyon that tends to be a little more challenging than the hike out. The hike out is a cardio experience. You just kind of walk and one foot in front of the other, and eventually you'll make it. But going down into the canyon, it's a lot of pressure on your knees. Your leg muscles are really going to feel it. You're basically downhill all day long.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
when you wake up in the morning, that first morning down at Phantom Ranch, your calves are going to be screwed at you. So anything you can do to strengthen all of those leg muscles, your calves, your quads, is going to be great. Stairmaster. You know, if you're a runner, then certainly, you know, put in some time going out for some, you know, for some good long runs. I would say a 7-mile hike in Grand Canyon with 5,000 feet of elevation change. You should be doing, you know, 10 and 12-mile hikes at home if you don't have elevation to prepare yourself. Walking the dog around the block is not training for Grand Canyon. And if you can put some weight on your back, you know, 10, 12 pounds on your back to prepare, that's certainly going to be helpful. So my number one tip is train. My number two tip is train some more. And so there's your number one. Number three is anyone that's coming on the trip, and Heather, I think I provided you with this already, and I can get it to you again, but we provide a very detailed trip information packet. It's going to cover everything from training to suggested packing lists for clothing and other personal items you want to consider bringing along. And then just little helpful hints, little tips and tricks for being comfortable on the trail. Read that information. We spent a lot of time and many years honing those details specifically for these trips. So put in the time to read through that information thoroughly, and certainly ask questions if you would like any of that information clarified in any way. Number four tip is to pack light. You're going on a 3-day trip. You're going into the backcountry. You know, yes, you're staying at a lodge, but it's a remote destination. And you have to carry everything in and out on your back. So pack light, you know, a couple of hiking outfits, and like one outfit that you'll wear kind of both evenings while you're down there. So when the day of hiking is done, you get to take a shower, you can put on that kind of fresh outfit. You don't need, you know, 3 new fresh outfits for every single day. Limit it, wear things a few times, rinse things out in the creek and hang them out to dry. They're fine for another round. Limit the personal toiletries and things that you bring along. Keep it to the basics: toothbrush, toothpaste, you know, some deodorant. They have, you know, soap and shampoo down there, as well as your shower towels. So you don't need that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Keep it simple, pack light. And
okay.
And then the last thing is just show up with your smiles, your positivity, and your A game, and be ready for a fantastic time in one of the most beautiful places in the world.
Awesome. Perfect. Those are great. So training, tip number 1, train more, tip number 2. That's perfect. I'm actually working on a workout video specifically for hikers and runners to stay injury free. And it's a lot of the exercises are knee strengthening, because as an ultra, I run ultra marathons on the trail mostly. And the biggest problem I see with people is the downhill part.
Right.
Because their knees aren't strong enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I get that finished, I will get that to you, and you could even share that with all of your clients, because it's so important. And then also your back, so that when you're carrying your backpack.
Sure.
I do a lot of like rows and all of that kind of stuff to strengthen my back. So perfect. Okay, so that's tip 1 and 2. And then tip 3, we'll go over that packing list. I'll make sure I get that to everyone who signs up.
Yep.
And then pack light. So would you say like 1 hiking outfit, 1 outfit for bed, and 1 outfit for hanging out?
I would say, yeah, I mean, you won't need much for sleeping in, you know, the basics. You even sleep in shorts and a lightweight t-shirt. I would say a couple outfits for hiking. So like 2 t-shirts, 2 pairs of shorts.
Okay.
Really unlikely that you'll need long sleeves or long pants unless you like that for sun protection, which is certainly a good idea. But otherwise, shorts and t-shirts are probably going to cover you for the trip. So a couple t-shirts for hiking, a couple pairs of shorts, and then just kind of like one nighttime outfit, a fresh pair of shorts or lightweight pants. It's also nice to have some sort of, kind of alternate footwear to change into at the end of the day. A pair of flip-flops or something is going to be real.
Yeah.
Get out of your hiking shoes, let your feet breathe. But you always want to have something on your feet while you're hanging around. I wouldn't recommend walking around.
Right. I know. I always think about that, but not everybody does. I've always got my flip-flops. So that's a good thing for people to know if you don't think about it. And then have fun.
Bring your egg.
Is your 5th tip.
Positive.
Perfect. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm really excited. The groups that I bring together end up always having like the best time. So I'm really excited. I can't wait. So my last question for you is, what is your most favorite hike in the world?
So I was thinking about
a big question.
It is a big question. And to be honest, I haven't done a ton of international hiking. I have hiked in New Zealand. I've hiked the Canadian Rockies, and I've hiked, all across the US. And I kid you not, I don't say this because you're all looking to come on a Grand Canyon trip, but my favorite trip in the world has been in the Grand Canyon.
There you go.
And I couldn't narrow it down to one specific. There's probably 2 or 3 different trips that I've done over the years that have just, they're just out of this world. It's unbelievable. It's hard to compare anything to the Grand Canyon. It's a very special place, and there's definitely a lot of other special places in the world. But my heart is in Southwest Canyon country, and Grand Canyon is just absolutely spectacular. And though you guys will be hiking on some of the more heavily traveled trails, Grand Canyon is an immense wilderness where you can there's so many places you can find yourself where you feel like you're the only person in the world. And I personally love that experience. I love exploring new places, and just, having the views that you'll experience in Grand Canyon. It's something that I haven't been able to match elsewhere.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait. I went to Havasupai last May to check that out for retreat, and ended up deciding not to do that and instead doing Phantom Ranch.
And I think that's a great.
Well, it was just really packed, and people had their boom boxes, and I was like,
yeah,
not feeling this.
Yeah, it's a different scene down there for sure. And
it's beautiful. I mean, it was incredible. It was one of the prettiest places I've ever seen. So it's too bad that it's so packed. I think they just sell too many passes.
Yeah, I agree.
So anyway, well, Dave, thank you so much for being on. Is there anything else you want to share with everyone listening?
No, I think we've covered it. Yeah, it sounds like you got a few open spaces left, and so we'd love to
I have a few open spaces, potentially only one, because I've got somebody right now, talking about signing up. So if you're thinking about it, get in touch with me, and we're going to have a great time. So with 4 Season Guides, I'm going to post the link to the trip below, the link to 4 Season Guides. If you decide you want to go on a trip with them, you can do that too. And Dave, will see you in October, and I'm sure I'll talk to you before that.
Absolutely.
Cool. Have a great day, everybody.
Take care. Thanks, Heather.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.